Well, we got him here, and what a treat this is. Warriors fans, welcome to the show, Marcelo Montoya. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Thanks very much for
the show as well.
Yeah, thanks very much for joining us, mate. Brilliant performance against the Dolphins on the weekend. Do you think that was the best the team has played so far this year?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think in terms of playing as a team and kind of, I guess, getting the job done as a whole, I thought we did it really well as a team, and it was real satisfying to get the win at home.
Marcelo, what's the difference, between the way that you played against them and the way you played against the Broncos? We can all talk about this stuff and overanalyze it, but I want to hear it from you. What's the key difference between those two games?
I thought just our intent in defense early on in the Dolphins game, like in both halves, and then for the whole 80 minutes was pretty much a difference from the two games. I thought against the Broncos, once we knew that we were chasing points, we picked up our defense in terms of our intent and the way we wanted to defend them come out of the yardage. And I thought against the Dolphins we could do that for a lot longer, and we did it in the first half and second half, which was more important.
So it's all about the defense as far as you're concerned. That's where it all starts.
Yeah, for sure. And then obviously, like the individual, individual lapses that we've been having, those tend to not happen as much if we're all dialed in and understanding our role in defense, and if we get that job correct, those other kind of issues doesn't really bother us as a team. But I thought obviously a few lapses as well in the Broncos games in terms of individual lapses in terms of drop balls or not icing moments.
Yep.
As well. But I thought in terms of our defense and what we wanted to achieve, we got to do that for a lot longer against the Dolphins, and that kind of just showed off the back of it, And like even when things were going wrong, we weren't as silky as we were with the ball in hand on the weekend. But once there was an error or drop ball, we kind of just swung back to our defense to fall back on that, and that kind of got us back in the game, and that kind of held us in good stead for what was to happen after that.
So, one of the most impressive things, I think, and I'm just a fan here, just a fan like everyone else talking, is the fact that we played 13 games. We haven't been belted in any game, and just about every other team has. And when you look at what happened last year, where we only won 6 games, already we've won more than that this year. But, how important is that to you, that no team really gets over you and puts you away?
Yeah, I think it's a credit to the coaching staff and what they've built here for us as a team. But at the same time, you don't want to look too far ahead. But you're right, that's where we've been in every kind of contest, this year, in every game, and that's a satisfying thing. But at the same time, you got to understand that, like those other teams you see, it can blow out, but we just don't want it to blow out that way. And the way we've been playing and defending, it's kind of a testament to that. We don't want games going as they were in for example, last year. We kind of give up if things weren't going our way. We kind of threw the towel in, kind of thinking, but we want to make sure that we're not doing that, and we want to make sure we're building a good brand of footy. So that's important to us. And I thought we've done well to be in every contest this year.
Yeah.
Just little lapses here and there. But once we can do that for longer periods, and once we do that for 80 minutes, then you can kind of see the kind of team that we can be.
And then the next thing is, bridging that gap. Because I look at those Roosters, Penrith, Dogs and Broncos results. These are all teams, the Storm, Roosters, Penrith and Broncos results are all teams that are sitting there in the top 4 or 5 at the moment. None of those losses were big losses on the scoreboard. What does it take to bridge that gap and to get a win against those kind of blokes?
Yeah, like I said, that's putting the pieces of the puzzle all together, and then everyone doing their job on the same night or the same day. We've got to make sure that we're doing what we're doing in terms of our defense, and then also our processes in attack, and making sure we're sticking to our structure for the whole 80. But then also tying in together that we might have an error here and there, but we can't have as much errors as opposition in terms of lapses or individual lapses. So that's the main thing, and that'll come together, as we keep playing more footy together, and as we keep getting a bit more confidence together as a team. that kind of stuff will fall for us. But we've got to make sure that we're working hard on the fundamentals every week in terms, the way we prep for each game and the way we train and the just energy and intensity that we train at as well. We've got to make sure that that's at a high level every week.
Is there any talk in the squad also about the fact that we're in the 8, we've been in the 8, we haven't dropped out of the 8? Is that really important to you guys? Or how important?
No, we haven't spoken about it at all, to be honest. To be fair, we haven't spoken about it at all. We just kind of spoke about winning every game that we can. That's our goal every week, and make sure that we prep well in order to win the game at hand. And every game's winnable. But like you just said before, there's the NRL this year, I guess, is a bit more there's teams kind of losing you thought would be winning, and so for us we've got to make sure we capitalise on that and make sure that we, like I said, prep really well, like I fought back on, and train hard, but at the same time have that confidence in our game to continue to build as a team, and those kind of wins will come. You just got to keep staying in that arm wrestle for longer periods than opposition, and then hopefully they crack before you crack, and that's the game of footy pretty much.
Marcelo Montoya is with us here, having a hell of a season, mate. 10 tries so far this season. So when Webby came along, you got a brand new coach. You'd heard a bit about this guy. What has impressed you the most about what he's said to you, what he's done with you?
I think Webby's kind of being real honest in terms of what he wants from you as a player, and the way he wants you to be as a person as well, and also around the place. But just his honesty for me. He's always kept his word, and I think honesty is a big thing when you're a player and a coach, obviously. But I think just his honesty around what he wants from the individual, and he's a fair coach, I think, and he's been awesome for me personally. But as you can see, for the team, for the club, he's been awesome to have around. He's very smart. He knows what he's doing, and I think sometimes he kind of gets a bit underestimated, but I think he's a great coach, mate.
And he's done something, you've said what he's done for you. You mentioned the word honesty as well. He's obviously said things to you that have really resonated with you.
Yeah, for sure. I think sometimes you don't realise how much other coaches really watch you play when they're not at the club. But, when Webby kind of signed as a coach, I think it was mid last year maybe, or just after, I think around this time last year, he might have signed, maybe it was.
Yeah.
But he kind of gave me a phone call and was just honest and saying, it's not for sure. You got to make sure that you're working hard every day to stay there. But he also said that he wanted me to stay at the club, and he's seen me in the plans of his future. And I thought that was massive, because he showed, you can see that he's been watching us play, even though he wasn't over here doing all the work yet. He was watching us play, and he had an interest in us as a team. So I think as a player, that shows how much he cares about the club and how much he cares about the individual.
I was just going to say that to you. That says to me that he cares. That's exactly what I was going to say to you then, mate.
Yeah, he cares, mate. He does. He really does care. He wants this club to do well, and you see how hard he works as a coach and his coaching staff as well. So that's what as a player, you just want to repay that to him, because he works really hard, and yeah.
Marcelo, how much more fun is it when the team's winning, mate?
Yeah, it helps, mate. It does. It really does help. I've been at the Bulldogs where my first kind of year was awesome, my debut season. Then after that, we kind of lost. I still haven't played finals footy, So it's nice when you're winning. But the ultimate goal for me is, for us as a team, but also for myself, is to play finals. That's what I want to. That's what I really want to do, and that's what's important to us. And it's important to us and the club. That's what we want to do. That's what we want to be at. But also, like I said before, we can't look too far ahead. You've got to take it week by week, and just continue to work on those fundamentals and work hard at training. And then, so in the end, if we're there, we're there. So we've got to make sure we just keep working hard and focusing on week by week. And then if we get there, we get there,
You got a great backstory, and I was reading up something on you, and you were a teacher's aide in Fiji for a while. So it's what's it like? Is it a dream for you to be playing professional footy in the NRL?
Yeah, it's always a dream. I mean, when you're a young kid and just obviously very invested in rugby league, the ultimate goal is you want to play NRL. So that's the main thing, and I'm lucky. I pinch myself every day that I get to walk in in this place at Mount Smart and walk in these walls and rub shoulders with some of the best of the game, and some of the best to do it. So for me, it's awesome. It's humbling every day to be able to be here. So yeah, like I make sure when I come in here, I don't come in here and kind of take the piss. I kind of work as hard as I can to do my best for the team and to do my part for these clubs. So that's the main thing.
Does your family get to? I mean, I don't know where they live. Do they get to come and see you play much? And in person?
Yeah. So my immediate family are back in Sydney. So my mother and my brothers are all in Sydney, and my wife is over here with me in New Zealand. And then my in-laws are in Sydney as well. So whenever we play back in Sydney, they all make the trek out wherever we play to put the effort in to come watch me play. So it's pretty cool to see them at pretty much all the Sydney games when we're playing back in Sydney. So that's awesome as well. But yeah, my wife, she comes to every game here in New Zealand, and then when she can, she gets over there to Sydney as well to watch some of the games or wherever we play. So, but it's pretty cool to have them there. They're all diehard rugby league fans, so their support's always nice. Yeah,
it must be special looking up in the stands afterwards and seeing them there, because they'll have big grins on their face. Doesn't matter whether you win or lose; they just want to see you play, don't they?
Yeah, for sure, mate. That's the main thing. They want to see you happy first and foremost, but then if you're playing good footy on the back foot, that's just a bonus. But yeah, when you look up there and see them smiling and see them happy, that's amazing, because that's what we do it for,
Plus, a full house, is there a real big difference in you as players when you're running out at Napier and the stands are packed, when you're running out at Mount Smart every game you've played this year and the stands are packed? How uplifting is that?
Yeah, it's, like I said before, it's hard to put into words, especially when we spent a few years over in Australia and we haven't had our own home crowd, Over here, it's you get to see firsthand how much this club means to the people of New Zealand and the fans of the Warriors. They really love this club and they're passionate about the club, and it's important for us to make sure we put those good performances together for them, because they've been started with that kind of home game kind of theatre experience. So it's important for us to do that week in, week out for them, and especially when we're playing at home. And like you said, Napier last week. So that's something that we'll keep striving to do.
Thank you so much for spending so much time with us. I could chat to you for a lot longer, but we're running out of time. And I know you're busy as well. All the very best for the season. Keep doing what you're doing, mate.
Thanks, mate. I really appreciate it. No stress. Thanks for having me on the show, and all the best. Thank you.
Awesome, mate. Let's get you on again. I'd love to keep chatting to you. Marcelo Montoya.